Welcome to the channel where real-life mysteries come to light. Hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you're ready for the truth behind the unthinkable. Don't forget to turn on notifications. What we uncover next will leave you speechless. Thanks for watching. It was supposed to be the happiest day of Leah Porter's life. She had earned it. For years of relentless study at Red Pine University, a small liberal arts college nestled in Northern California. The child of a single mother, Leah had taken on 2 part-time jobs, aced her classes, volunteered at a crisis hotline, and earned early acceptance into a graduate program at Stanford. Her name was printed neatly on the graduation program, Leah Noel Porter, summa cum laude. But when her name was called at 10:46 a.m., there was no answer. No proud walk across the stage. No cap tossed into the sky. No beaming smile for the cameras. Only an empty chair. The faculty tried to play it off. Maybe Leah was late, they said. Overslept. Delayed. But her roommate, Becca, knew better. I woke up that morning, and her side of the room was untouched, Becca would later tell investigators. Her cap and gown were laid out on the bed. Her phone charger was still plugged in. Her toothbrush was still damp. She never came back that night. Leah had vanished. Within hours, campus police launched a missing persons investigation. Flyers went up. Interviews began. And as her friends and professors scrambled for answers, one eerie realization took hold. Leah Porter was last seen the night before, walking alone into the darkness, with no explanation. And she was never seen again. At 8:14 p.m. on the evening of May 26, 2023, Leah Porter walked out of room 312 of Juniper Hall, her shared dormitory on the eastern edge of Red Pine University. It was cool outside, the kind of Northern California spring evening that slipped quickly from warm to cold once the sun dipped behind the redwoods. Leah wore a gray zip-up hoodie, faded jeans, and old Converse sneakers, not the attire of someone heading to a party, or even out for dinner. Her roommate, Becca, would later say Leah looked calm, even content. She said she just needed some air, Becca recalled. She smiled, waved, and left. I didn't think anything of it. Why would I? Leah left without her wallet, without her laptop, without her ID, her notes, or her homework folders. All of it was still on her desk when police entered the room the next day. Her glasses were folded neatly on her nightstand, something her mother pointed out immediately. Leah was nearsighted. She never went far without them. What she did take were her keys and her phone, a cracked iPhone 11 with a sunflower case. The dorm's east exit camera captured her one last time. Time-stamped 8:14 and 39 seconds p.m. She walks out, right hand in her hoodie pocket, phone in her left. She looks up at the sky briefly, as if gauging the air. Then, without pause, she walks off screen. That was the last confirmed sighting of Leah Porter. At first, no one panicked. College students come and go. Maybe she needed a breather before graduation. Maybe she took a walk to the Overlook Trail, a favorite spot where students gathered to watch the sun fade behind the trees. But then came the graduation ceremony. Then came the unanswered calls. And then, something strange. Leah's mother, Danielle Porter, had texted her at 9:02 p.m. that night, a simple message. Everything okay, baby? The message was marked as delivered, but it was never read. That would be the last time Leah's phone ever connected to a tower. Campus police reviewed footage from the surrounding dorms and pathways. From 8:15 p.m. onward, Leah Porter vanished into a blind spot. No cameras, no eyewitnesses, no clues. There were no signs of a struggle, no distress, just a sudden drop-off in her digital and physical footprint. But when detectives examined the dorm's shared bathroom the next morning, they found something subtle and deeply unsettling. On the mirror, there was a faint residue, not visible to the naked eye. But when the hot water ran and steam fogged the glass, it revealed itself. A message, traced in the vapor. I had to. Becca swore she hadn't seen it the night before. And she was adamant that Leah never mentioned writing anything. It wasn't her handwriting, she insisted. It wasn't even her style. But investigators confirmed that the oils on the mirror were several hours old, likely left just before the water vapor evaporated and obscured them completely. And Leah was the last person to enter the bathroom that evening. Was it a goodbye? A warning? A confession? Or a setup? The message opened a new line of inquiry. What exactly had Leah had to do? Where was she going that night? And who, if anyone, was waiting for her on the other side of that walk? Detectives began canvassing the area. They pulled hours of security footage from businesses and roads within a 3-mile radius. They questioned food delivery drivers, janitors, late-night staff. And they found nothing. No witnesses. No camera pickups. No vehicles matching a description. Leah had evaporated, not with chaos, but with surgical quiet. Even more bizarre, the GPS logs from her phone placed her just outside the campus at 8:22 p.m., a small, tree-lined trail near a faculty parking lot. Then silence. No further location pings. No app activity. No camera catch. Nothing. As though the earth had opened up and swallowed her whole. That's when police started entertaining theories. Maybe Leah had run away. Maybe graduation was a breaking point. Maybe she planned this. But Danielle, her mother, wasn't having it. My daughter loved her future, she told reporters at the first press conference. She loved her work, her friends, her dog. She just got into Stanford. Who walks away from that the night before graduation? No. Someone took her. And with that single sentence, a simple missing persons case turned into something darker. A potential abduction. Or worse. And yet there was still no proof. No screams. No blood. No broken phone. No struggle. Just silence. That silence, however, was about to break. Because 1 week later, investigators would uncover something else. Something digital. Buried just beneath the surface. A cancelled rideshare. Called from Leah's phone. At 8:21 p.m. But the driver listed had never arrived and claimed he never received the request. Which meant someone else had. And they had access to Leah's phone. The breakthrough came not from bloodhounds or drones, but from data. Cold, clinical, digital footprints left behind in the seconds before Leah Porter vanished. 1 week into the investigation, Red Pine University authorities were granted access to Leah's Apple iCloud backup. With it, investigators pulled activity logs from her iPhone. What they discovered raised more questions than answers. At exactly 8:21 p.m., just 7 minutes after Leah walked out of her dorm, her phone opened the app for Glide Ride, a regional rideshare service popular among college students. A ride was requested from Juniper Hall to the Southridge Trailhead, roughly 2.8 miles west of campus. But the ride never arrived. Or, at least, not officially. The assigned driver, Jason Lowry, was a 34-year-old part-time driver who lived in nearby Ukiah. When investigators contacted him, he was confused. His rideshare log for the night of May 26 was completely clean. He hadn't accepted any fares after 7:50 p.m. I was home by then, he told them. I logged off early. I was watching a movie with my wife. His location history confirmed it. Lowry's phone had been parked at his residence all night. Yet the app listed him as the driver for Leah's 8:21 p.m. request. So how did her phone generate a fake ride? Who spoofed Jason Lowry's credentials? And more importantly, did Leah ever get into that car? Glide Ride's internal logs provided something chilling. The ride request was not initiated by Leah's Glide Ride account. It came from a shared session. Someone had logged into the app using a different phone but with Leah's Apple ID, possibly via app cloning. The phone that requested the ride never completed the ride, nor did it log any GPS data past 8:26 p.m. It simply vanished from the network. Even more bizarre? Leah's actual phone never left campus boundaries. It remained pinging from a single location near the east parking lot, stationary, until it went offline at 9:02 p.m. That means two things were happening at once. Leah's real phone stayed put. Another phone, logged into her account, faked the ride request and vanished. So, who had access to Leah's digital identity? Investigators subpoenaed IP addresses linked to the Glide Ride session. One traced back to a public Wi-Fi hub, a nearby gas station. Surveillance footage from that location showed nothing useful. The signal was too weak. No one on camera matched Leah's description, nor anyone logging into the hotspot around the time of the request. The second IP address pinged from a residential block known for off-campus student housing. But the apartment tied to that IP was vacant. The lease had expired 3 weeks earlier. According to the landlord, the last tenant? A student named Eli Brenner, a former sophomore dropout. No known connection to Leah Porter. Police tracked down Brenner, who had relocated to Portland after leaving school. He claimed ignorance, said he didn't know Leah, didn't use Glide Ride, and had sold his old phone at a pawn shop in April. But when investigators searched his online activity, they found he'd visited a forum dedicated to identity spoofing and burner apps multiple times, weeks before Leah vanished. They couldn't tie him to the ride. Not directly. But the data was enough to keep him under watch. Still, no hard evidence. No arrest. No Leah. Then came another revelation. 3 days before graduation, Leah had changed her Glide Ride profile photo. Oddly enough, not to a new picture, but to a black square. No image. No initials. Just a void. When her roommate asked why, Leah simply shrugged. "I didn't want to be found," she said with a strange smile. At least not easily. What did she mean? Was she hiding from someone? Or preparing to vanish? Her internet history didn't provide much. But her downloads folder revealed something curious, a PDF titled, "How to Erase Yourself." A guide circulating on Reddit, detailing how to spoof GPS, clone apps, reroute texts, and vanish from digital surveillance. The guide's final line read, "Control the narrative, and you control the search." Was Leah running from something or someone? Or was she staging something? Preparing a digital misdirection? By now, the media was circling. Headlines swarmed the case. Social media turned Leah Porter into a hashtag. But then the case twisted again. A gas station 60 miles north of Red Pine turned in footage from Friday night, 1 week after Leah's disappearance. The timestamp, 7:48 p.m. A young woman walked in alone. Gray hoodie, dark jeans, hair tied back. She bought a bottle of water. She didn't speak to anyone. And as she exited the store, she paused, looked directly at the security camera, and smiled. Then she disappeared into the night. Leah's mother was certain it was her. The clerk who saw her said she looked like she hadn't slept in days. Police rushed to the area, canvassed surrounding neighborhoods, even brought in dogs. They found nothing. No footprints. No trail. No Leah. Just a 19-second clip and a growing sense of dread. Because whether Leah had escaped or been taken, someone or something was making sure she stayed missing. And they were doing it very, very well. By the third day of Leah Porter's disappearance, hope was giving way to speculation, not just from investigators, but from Leah's closest friends. The image of a perfect student, an only child with dreams of becoming a social worker, was beginning to fracture. Small inconsistencies surfaced. Private accounts emerged. And then, the chilling theory no one wanted to believe. Leah Porter might not have been who she said she was. It started with her phone records. Detectives with the Red Pine Police Department subpoenaed Leah's mobile data on May 29th. What they found weren't calls for help or panic. Instead, they found encrypted chats through apps like Signal and Telegram, messages that didn't match the shy, soft-spoken persona Leah presented on campus. A second Instagram account appeared, under the name @Cinder_Echo. The bio was vague. Truth is just what we hide best. It had 51 followers. Mostly men. No mutuals with her college friends. The content? Black and white photos. Eyes. Dark corridors. Cryptic captions. One post from 2 weeks before her disappearance stood out. "When the mask falls, you'll wish you looked closer." Posted May 13th, 11:09 p.m. Investigators dug deeper. On the surface, Leah had a clean financial record. But a Venmo transaction from a private account caught the eye of Detective Rachel Mendez. On May 12th, Leah received $2,000 from an anonymous sender labeled only as WW. Where did it go? Straight to a prepaid debit card. One registered under the name L. Purnell, an alias no one on campus had ever heard of. That card was used twice before her disappearance, once at a pawn shop just outside of town, once at a gas station on Highway 9. At the pawn shop, she sold a pair of silver earrings, identical to the one she wore in her senior photo. Surveillance footage confirmed it. Leah, wearing a dark hoodie and no glasses, handed the earrings over with no hesitation. She took the cash. No receipt. But why the secrecy? Becca, Leah's roommate, was among the first to push back on the double life theory. That wasn't her, she told reporters. Leah didn't even like going out, much less doing shady stuff. Someone could have used her name. Or maybe she was scared. That doesn't mean she was lying. But Becca had left out one detail, a small one. The week before Leah disappeared, Becca had seen her crying in the bathroom late at night. When she asked why, Leah replied, "I think I've made a mistake. A big one. But I can't undo it now." She didn't elaborate. Friends close to Leah started remembering other things too. One recalled Leah suddenly deleting a TikTok account she had been curating for over a year, a collection of mental health tips and personal vlogs. Another recalled Leah panicking after receiving a text in the middle of a study group session. She left without explanation and didn't return. These were cracks in the portrait of Leah Porter, cracks that hadn't been visible before. And each one widened the question, was Leah planning to disappear? Then came the most damning piece of evidence yet. Detective Mendez received a tip from a local rideshare driver who recognized Leah's photo. He hadn't driven her the night she vanished, but a week prior, he picked up a Leah P. from a motel 6 miles outside campus. She wasn't alone. A man in his 30s waited with her at the pickup point. According to the driver, Leah was silent the entire ride back to campus. The man never got in the car, but Leah looked pale, tense, like someone being watched. When shown a digital sketch of the man provided later by another witness, Leah's mother nearly dropped her phone. "I've seen him," she whispered. "Outside her dorm, twice. I thought he was a campus worker." The mystery man was never identified. As the investigation progressed, detectives began to consider the unthinkable, that Leah might have been trapped in something deeper than a simple walk gone wrong. Whether it was blackmail, coercion, or something she got into willingly, the digital trail suggested planning, or at least paranoia. The second Instagram account was deleted the day after she vanished. But digital forensics revealed a draft post that was never published. It read, "If this is the end, I was more than what you saw. Please tell my mother I didn't mean to break her heart." It was saved at 8:09 p.m., 5 minutes before she walked out of her dorm for the last time. The police called it the double life theory. The media called it betrayal. But Leah's mother called it something else entirely. A cry for help, one no one understood until it was too late. Whether Leah Porter was running, hiding, or being hunted, one truth was becoming clearer with every new thread. She was already gone long before anyone knew to look for her. It was a Friday evening like any other until it wasn't. On May 25, 2024, at exactly 8:14 p.m., Leah Porter left her dorm room at Hartwell Hall, carrying only her phone, a slim canvas tote bag, and a water bottle. She told her roommate she was going for a short walk to clear her head. That walk should have lasted 15 minutes. Maybe 20. She never returned. And somewhere in that narrow window of time, in that silent hour between sundown and a roommate's rising panic, Leah Porter vanished without a sound. The last confirmed sighting came from a nearby security camera at 8:17 p.m. It captured Leah exiting through the west doors of the dormitory and heading toward Pine Ridge Trail, a small, wooded footpath that ran behind campus and was often used by students for evening walks or phone calls. She was alone. She wasn't walking fast. She wasn't looking over her shoulder. She didn't appear to be running from anything or anyone. But in hindsight, that's exactly what made it so chilling. Investigators scoured the trail within hours of the missing person report. Nothing was found. No clothing, no bag, no torn leaves or disturbed soil. Tracking dogs lost her scent just a quarter mile down the path. It simply stopped. But something else surfaced. A jogger who had passed through the area around 8:30 p.m. remembered seeing a pair of footprints just off the trail, heading toward the embankment above Red Pine Creek. One set. Small. Female. They veered into the brush. Yet no one ever saw footprints returning from the water. Authorities considered every angle. Did she slip and fall? No body was found in the creek, despite repeated searches with drones and divers. Was she abducted? No tire tracks, no broken branches, no struggle. Did she stage her own disappearance? That's when digital forensics revealed something peculiar. At 8:24 p.m., Leah's phone switched into airplane mode. Not do not disturb. Not silent. Airplane mode. Manually activated. The last ping to a cell tower showed her within 500 feet of the trail's north end. 8 minutes. That's all it took. From the moment she left her dorm to the moment she disconnected from the world, it was a window so small, so deliberate, it felt almost orchestrated. But the next clue didn't come from the trail. It came from a car. At 9:06 p.m., nearly 45 minutes after Leah vanished, a blue Nissan Altima was recorded by a traffic camera 2 towns over, driving erratically near the Baxter off-ramp. What caught the attention of analysts wasn't the car itself, but the license plate. It was registered to a man named Wesley R. Wren, a local who had once been charged with unlawful surveillance at a Red Pine motel 5 years earlier. The same motel where Leah had been spotted days prior. The car was found 3 days later, abandoned in an alley behind a closed mechanic shop. The front seat was stained. The back seat had long, dark hairs embedded in the upholstery. A fingerprint belonging to Leah was found on the passenger window. But no sign of her. As investigators chased down leads, a darker question surfaced. What if the vanishing wasn't random at all? What if Leah knew who she was meeting that night? Her earlier Venmo transactions. The second Instagram account. The hidden alias tied to the prepaid debit card. Everything suggested planning, a deliberate attempt to separate her identities. But was it an escape? Or was it entrapment? And who was WW, the mystery name on her money transfers? As her parents begged the public for help, a theory began to circulate on true crime forums and Reddit threads. Leah Porter had entered a deal she couldn't back out of. Whether it was a trafficking ring, a coercive relationship, or blackmail, the theory insisted the meetup on May 25th was never meant to be safe. And someone was watching to make sure it wasn't. A neighbor later reported hearing what sounded like a car door slam hard around 8:40 p.m. He thought it was a student getting into an Uber. He never saw who it was. And by the time the search began in earnest, Leah was already gone, consumed by the hour that swallowed her whole. The vanishing hour. That's what the press would come to call it. An hour that raised more questions than it answered. An hour that would haunt Red Pine for years. An hour that shattered a family and left behind only fragments of truth. And yet, one clue still lay buried in plain sight. A campus call box, the kind used for emergencies, showed usage at 8:26 p.m. The call connected, but no words were spoken. Only static. And then silence. 3 days after Leah Porter vanished, the Red Pine Search and Rescue Unit expanded their grid. The forest surrounding the university is notorious for being both breathtaking and deceptive, easy to enter, but hard to navigate. Twisting paths forked into dead ends. Terrain changed quickly. Cell signal faded within minutes of leaving the main trails. But something strange turned up in a place it shouldn't have. It was 6:14 a.m. when Officer Heather Trammell, a K-9 handler, stopped on a soft bank along the south perimeter of Mirror Pine Trail, a less-used path known only to local hikers. The morning dew hadn't yet dried, and the muddy ground was still pliable from the night's fog. That's when she noticed it, a single shoe print, angled oddly, just off the trail. It was small, narrow, deep in the heel. Visual suggestion. High-contrast reenactment shot. A gloved hand brushing back a layer of pine needles to reveal the distinct outline of a sneaker tread. Digital overlay compares it to Leah's known Converse pattern. It was weird, Trammell later told investigators. There were no other prints nearby. No signs of someone walking in or out. Just that one. Like someone stood there and vanished. The print was preserved, photographed, and eventually matched. It aligned perfectly with the same left-foot Converse All-Star sneaker Leah was last seen wearing. Investigators confirmed it. Leah had been there. But the location was more than 2.7 miles from her dorm. And there were no rideshare records, no vehicle traffic caught on nearby CCTV, and no sign she'd walked there based on other ground prints. Questions swirled. Had she been lured into the woods? Carried? Dropped off? And if so, why leave just one print? The area was canvassed. Drones swept overhead. Dogs picked up faint scents that vanished after 20 yards. No items were found. No other footprints emerged. But something else was discovered, or rather someone else. James Lindell, 67, lived in a small cabin about a quarter mile from the footprint site. A recluse, retired, ex-park ranger. On the night Leah disappeared, he claimed he heard movement around 10:30 p.m., unusual for that part of the woods. I looked out and saw a girl, young, standing still in the dark like she was waiting for someone. Just standing. Never seen that before. Not out here. He didn't call the police. Not until the story made the news. Police were skeptical. Lindell's vision was poor. He hadn't seen her face. But when shown a photo of Leah's gray hoodie and jeans, he nodded. Yup, that was it. The sighting added pressure. Was Leah wandering the woods that night? Was she taken there against her will? And more troubling, was she still out there? As day 6 turned to day 7, and hope began to fade, police were called to revisit the woods again. Only this time, they were looking for something far more specific. Not Leah, but who or what had brought her there. 6 days after Leah Porter's disappearance, her dorm room, Juniper Hall, room 3B, had become less a residence and more a sealed crime scene. By now, the scent of old takeout and vanilla air freshener had been replaced with a sterile sting of forensic chemicals. Crime scene tape stretched across the doorway like a silent guardian. That morning, Detective Rena Martinez returned with a digital forensics expert. The goal was simple: crack open Leah's MacBook Pro. It had been recovered from under a pile of laundry on her desk, untouched, uncharged, and with no visible damage. But when they powered it on, a screen demanded a password. No biometrics. No hints. Just a silent challenge from the last place Leah had likely touched before she vanished. Authorities had already spoken to Leah's roommates. None of them knew her password. Even her best friend, Tara Jensen, shrugged helplessly. She changed it every month, said it made her feel like a spy. It was classic Leah, quirky, overly cautious, secretive. That left digital forensics with two options: brute force the password, which could take weeks, or seek a workaround. But they were about to get a break. In a diary tucked beneath Leah's mattress, they found what looked like possible passwords. The third one worked. The system unlocked. And what they discovered on that laptop cracked the case wide open. Inside her documents folder was a hidden, encrypted file named Untitled 1037 to Final. It was nearly 800 megabytes in size and required a separate password to open. This time, the password wasn't scribbled in a journal. But Leah had left another trail. Inside her Photos app, investigators found an innocuous-looking image, a framed poster of a Virginia Woolf quote hanging on her dorm wall. Zooming in, they saw a post-it note partially visible in the corner of the frame. It read, "Her letters know the truth." That was the key. They tried, "Her letters know the truth." And the file opened. Inside the file was a cache of PDFs, screenshots, and audio recordings, months' worth of private messages, transaction logs, and GPS snapshots. Leah had been tracking someone. Someone she believed was following her. A folder titled Shadow/Proof contained the bulk of it. In it, they found an unfiltered look at Leah's world: paranoia, stalking incidents, anonymous DMs, and detailed journal entries. One entry read, "There's a black Honda Civic that circles my dorm almost every other night. Same dent in the passenger door. I saw it again parked by the library. License plate, BXF 8291. Can't be a coincidence. I know it's him. Another. If I disappear, start with the rideshare guy. His eyes. He recognized me before I got in the car. I'm sure of it now. And there was more. She had audio files, recordings from her phone. One captured a brief, but chilling clip. Male voice. No one's going to find you out here. Leah whispering. This isn't right. You're not who. Silence. Another was just ambient noise, but the rustling of leaves and distant snapping of twigs gave it a suffocating quality. All this raised one terrifying question. Why hadn't she gone to the police? Tara Jensen, her friend, offered a painful answer during her second interview. She was scared they wouldn't believe her. And she had this whole theory about being watched. Like, really watched. Not just followed. She said if she made noise too soon, it would all go away, that whoever it was would erase it. In addition to evidence of being followed, Leah's laptop contained notes about a deeper, darker possibility. She suspected that someone had duplicated her identity. Her digital journal entries contained phrases like, 2 Leahs, 1 visible, 1 invisible. He said he met me already, but we never met. Photos of me exist that I never took. Investigators began to consider a harrowing theory. Was someone impersonating Leah Porter? And had that person lured her somewhere, using her own identity against her? By the end of the week, Leah's laptop had gone from being a secondary lead to becoming the primary evidence. It painted a portrait of a girl trapped in a psychological cat-and-mouse game, constantly second-guessing her own instincts, but brave enough to document every breadcrumb. But the last file recovered was the most damning. A video, titled simply, Donutwatch.mov. It was in the dead of night, long past the hour when tips slow to a crawl and silence becomes the norm, that the call came in. 2:37 a.m., exactly 7 days since Leah Porter vanished without a trace. Dispatcher Candace Mullins was nearing the end of a slow shift. Then the line lit up. The voice on the other end was low, hushed, and laced with static. A man. Maybe in his 30s. Maybe older. He never gave a name. You're looking in the wrong place, he said. She's not in the dorm. She's not even in the county anymore. Candace sat up straight. Sir, who is this? A pause. They used her face. But it wasn't her. He's done it before. Then a soft click. The line went dead. What made the call different, chilling even, wasn't just what was said. It was what the caller knew. The voice referenced details that hadn't been made public. The fact that police had found footage of a Leah Porter lookalike at a truck stop 2 counties over. That Leah's laptop contained theories about a digital doppelganger. That someone was using her identity before she disappeared. Whoever made that call wasn't guessing. They were involved. That same night, Detective Rena Martinez was called back to the precinct. The dispatcher had recorded the call, and it was already being analyzed for voice recognition. But the number? Burner phone. Untraceable. Prepaid. Purchased at a gas station in Kentucky 6 weeks earlier. Still, the call gave them something else, a direction. The words, "She's not even in the county anymore," pointed them to a small town called Red Pine, a forgotten strip of road with no streetlights, no police station, and barely any Wi-Fi. Investigators pulled satellite images of the area. One building caught their attention. An abandoned children's summer camp. Shuttered since 2012. Located deep in the woods. No power. No surveillance. And according to public records, it had recently been leased under a fake name. Cabin 4 was different. Its door was chained shut, but there were fresh footprints in the mud. The interior had been recently swept. Clean water in a bucket. A cot. And next to it, a pink scrunchie. Tara, Leah's roommate, identified it immediately. That's hers. She never left without it. But no blood. No Leah. Just a message. The cabin had power. A small generator hidden beneath the floorboards hummed faintly. Whoever had been there had planned for long-term occupancy. Canned food. Bottled water. even a portable signal jammer designed to block GPS signals within a 30-foot radius. Leah's phone hadn't gone dark by accident. Someone turned it off on purpose. But the most terrifying discovery came next. Behind a false wall in cabin 4, they found a rusted locker. Inside were items belonging to other missing girls. All similar in age. All brunette. All from different states. Some reported missing. Others not even noticed yet. The implications were horrifying. Leah Porter might not have been the first. And the caller who said he's done it before wasn't lying. The FBI was brought in that same day. Now the case had a new classification: active serial abduction multi-state. But just as they began building a profile of the suspect, another tip arrived. This time, not a call. A flash drive mailed directly to the detective's office, postmarked from a city 400 miles away. Written on the envelope: "Play me before she disappears too." The case was unraveling faster than anyone could control. One thing was now certain. Leah wasn't just taken. She was chosen. The flash drive was small, just 16 gigabytes, and had no markings beyond the hand-scribbled label, Leah_Sam_final. It had arrived by mail. No return address. Postmarked from Ardmore, Oklahoma, a place with no prior connection to Leah, her family, or her school. The envelope smelled faintly of motor oil and was sealed with industrial tape, the kind used in shipping yards or machine shops. Inside, one item: the flash drive. Detectives gathered around a secure workstation as it was inserted. The screen blinked once. Then a folder. One file. A video. The video was exactly 9 minutes and 12 seconds long. No audio. No title screen. It began with a view of a windowless room, concrete walls, a metal folding chair, and fluorescent lights that flickered every few seconds. The camera, clearly stationary, captured one angle. Unmoving. Intentional. At the 38-second mark, a figure entered frame. A girl. Disheveled. Pale. Wearing a hoodie with Westbridge University lettering on the sleeve. It was Leah.
She didn't speak.
She sat in the chair, fidgeting with her bracelet, the same one her father had given her when she left for college. A gold-plated bar with her initials engraved on it. Then she turned to face the camera. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. Lip readers later confirmed the words. "He made me be her." The rest of the video played like a ritual. Leah was handed a Polaroid camera. She took a picture of herself, expression blank, and taped it to the wall behind her. Next to the photo was a grid of other girls. 12 total. Different faces, but all eerily similar. Brunette, slender build, hazel or green eyes. Each photo had a name written in black ink. Only one name was visible: Clara Jennings, December 2021. Clara Jennings had never been reported missing. Yet here she was, on the wall of a room where Leah Porter had been held. At 6 minutes in, the camera panned slightly, almost like someone nudged it. A second figure entered the frame, just briefly.
Tall. Male.
Wearing gloves. No face shown. But what was visible just for a few seconds was the edge of a tattoo on his wrist. 3 symbols: a cross, a circle, and the letter M. The final minute of the footage showed Leah being let out of the frame. But this time she resisted. She pulled away, tried to shout something, mouth wide open. The video abruptly cut to black. Then, a single text screen appeared. The wrong girl again. And then, silence. The implications of the footage sent a chill through the task force. If Leah wasn't the target, who was? And why was she being forced to become someone else? Was this about identity? A fixation? A pattern? Detective Rena Martinez ordered every image on the wall in the video to be isolated and enhanced. With facial recognition, they identified 4 of the 12 girls. 2 were still listed as missing persons. One had been found dead in Utah in 2022, ruled a suicide, now suddenly reclassified. The 4th? She was alive, living in upstate New York, and completely unaware that a photo of her was pinned to a wall 1,200 miles away, in the same room where Leah Porter had been held. Her name was Maggie Ellison. She looked exactly like Leah. Maggie had never met Leah, didn't go to the same college. But when she was shown the image of the tattooed wrist, her hands began to tremble. She had seen it once. 2 years ago. A guy came into the bookstore where I worked, bought a copy of The Stranger Beside Me, paid in cash. But his sleeve slipped and I saw the wrist. Same exact tattoo. She thought nothing of it at the time. Now it felt like a warning she never understood. Investigators dug deeper into the symbol, cross, circle, and M. An obscure reference popped up in a cold case from 2009. The Moroni cult, a short-lived, secretive group suspected in the disappearances of 5 women across the Midwest. The group disbanded after a compound fire in Nebraska. No arrests were ever made. Survivors disappeared. And the cult's original logo? A cross, a circle, and then the working theory took a dark turn. Leah hadn't just been abducted. She had been auditioned. Someone was hunting for a very specific type. Someone who believed in replacement, in replication, in ritual. Back in the evidence room, investigators played the video again. One frame, previously unnoticed, showed the corner of a desk in the far right of the screen. On it was a photo in a wooden frame. The video resolution made it hard to see, but after digital enhancement, they got a name. Maddie Penbrook, 2007. A 15-year-old girl who vanished after a school play in Iowa. Her case had gone cold nearly 2 decades ago. Until now. That meant Leah wasn't part of a new pattern. She was trapped inside a legacy. By the 10th day of Leah Porter's disappearance, hope had thinned to a whisper. Her face was everywhere, on lamppost flyers, milk cartons, college bulletins, and now national television. Hashtags bearing her name swirled online, theories exploded across Reddit threads, and even local businesses started offering discounts to anyone who donated to the search fund. But the police were exhausted. No new sightings. No phone pings. No forensic evidence that made any sense. It was as if Leah had dissolved into air. And then, on a humid June morning, something happened that turned everything inside out. At exactly 3:11 a.m. on June 3, 2023, a voicemail arrived at Danielle Porter's phone. The caller ID was blocked. The voice memo was 14 seconds long. It contained no speech, only sound. When Danielle woke up, she missed the notification. It wasn't until 8:06 a.m., while pouring coffee and reading through an online article about the disappearance of her daughter, that she noticed the icon. New voicemail. She played it once, then again, then collapsed to her knees. It was the breath. Soft, shallow, almost mechanical. A hush followed, then a scrape, like someone shifting against a hard surface. At the very end, a faint click. That was it. She played it over and over, convinced it was Leah. Convinced that her daughter was alive. Somewhere. And that she had tried to make contact. The voicemail was submitted to Red Pine PD and analyzed by 2 digital forensics labs. Both confirmed the same thing. No background identifiers, no GPS data, no cell tower triangulation. The sound profile was consistent with a closed space, a car trunk, a small room, or, as one expert put it, a manufactured container. The audio engineer from the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit described it differently. Whoever sent this voicemail wanted to say something, but wasn't allowed to speak. The click at the end? It was later matched to the sound of a glove compartment being closed, specifically the model found in a 2012 Toyota RAV4. Coincidence?
Possibly.
But then came the kicker. Danielle received the voicemail exactly 1 year to the hour after Leah's college acceptance letter had been sent. Someone knew that. And someone wanted her to know they knew. Online theorists dubbed it the silent message. The subreddit, #FindLeahPorter, exploded. Some believed Leah was alive and trapped. Others thought it was a hoax, an elaborate manipulation by the abductor to torment the family. A few, more cynical voices suggested Danielle Porter herself staged the voicemail for attention. But that was silenced quickly after police revealed a chilling detail they had withheld. The breathing pattern in the recording matched Leah's respiratory cadence from a previous hospital intake. Her breath. Her stress response. Her pattern. It was her. From that moment, the case shifted from a missing persons investigation to an abduction. Police issued a statewide bolo, "Be on the lookout," for a dark gray 2012 Toyota RAV4, possibly with modifications. Every roadside camera and license plate reader within a 300-mile radius was combed. Nothing. As if the voicemail had come from nowhere. As if she was nowhere. Or worse, everywhere. There was something else, too. Something that wasn't reported in the news. The voicemail was deleted from Danielle's phone 24 hours later. Not by her. Digital forensic experts later confirmed that the message self-deleted, likely using a third-party exploit via a jailbroken phone. A type of malware no civilian should have access to. The only remaining copy? The one Danielle forwarded to Detective Ross moments after she first heard it. Whoever sent that message didn't want it staying in her phone. It was a breadcrumb. A warning. A cruel, calculated game. And, perhaps, to goodbye. By the time this chapter of the investigation closed, one thing had become painfully clear. Leah Porter didn't just vanish. She was taken. And someone somewhere was still watching.
Still listening.
Still playing the long game. What do you really think happened to Leah? Comment your theory below. Hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you're ready for the truth behind the unthinkable. Don't forget to turn on notifications. What we uncover next will leave you speechless. Thanks for watching.